So the EA buyout was just confirmed. So what does that mean for BioWare? First, this means that EA is a private company, no longer answering to shareholders and no longer traded on NASDAQ. All stockholders, including employees, will receive $210 a share in the buyout. EA will take on an $18 billion debt and will have to pay $1 billion a year in interest. According to Schreier, EA's earning before interest basically is around $1.5 billion, which should be enough to pay the interest every year. But EA also told debt investors that it will cut $700 million in annual cost, including $170 million in organizational efficiencies. In other words, mass layoffs. Before we get to the layoffs, this also means a further push into AI, which EA has already said. And I'm sure a massive push into further monetization, something that EA loves. EA has already implemented ads in games, and I'm assuming all of their shitty, greedy, money-grabbing practices will get even worse with this. As far as the layoffs, Mike Straw, another insider, said that he spoke to several EA employees who all believe mass layoffs will happen within the first 12 months. Sounds like communication, as far as what devs can expect, has also been concerning and inconsistent. Straw also says that EA is looking to sell some IPs. He doesn't say that they're looking to also sell studios, so I'm kind of not entirely sure what's going to happen with that. Right now, EA owns several studios and has around 15,000 employees around the world, based on the numbers that I could find as of March 2026. But that is a lot of people who are about to be affected by this sale. As far as selling IPs, I guess I could see that happening with IPs that EA doesn't plan to do anything with, like Dead Space and Dragon Age. Previously, Mark Dara spoke about how EA would rather sit on an IP and let it die, than see someone else make money off of it, but it seems like that has changed. There's no mention of selling off studios, but I mean, is the BioWare name even worth selling? Or would they simply sell off the individual IPs of Mass Effect and Dragon Age, while letting BioWare die? Or if it was sold, would it be some kind of package deal? It's hard to imagine those IPs not being made under the BioWare name, but honestly, BioWare's name doesn't mean much these days, and I don't really think that's a secret. They're also only roughly at a staff count of maybe 80 that was last reported, so what could selling them off even really look like? Currently, BioWare has 2 projects in the works, Mass Effect 5 and the Mass Effect TV show. And as of right now, Mike Gamble is the studio general manager. It's a Mass Effect first and only studio. They also don't have their previous BioWare offices like they used to, with them becoming essentially designated EA locations. So I already feel like EA has been pushing BioWare out and absorbing them. I'm sure as of right now, Mass Effect is being developed by the small BioWare team and several EA in-house devs as well. There's no way realistically that they could ship the next Mass Effect game with just 80 people. And no, Claire Obscure didn't do it with 33 people either. They had a ton of outsourcing to help with development. So yeah, it's hard to imagine BioWare moving publishers, and what exactly that would actually look like. Would they buy the IPs, or buy the studio and IPs? Would the dev team transfer, or would they all be let go? Some scary possibilities, and really, who would even buy BioWare? I see Larian, Alcat, and CDPR brought up the most when it comes to this question, and yeah, maybe, but sorry, to me, BioWare will always have the sauce. And unless someone takes the studio and IP and lets them do what BioWare was known for, I don't know really how interested I would even be. Like, I could see Larian doing Dragon Age, but at the same time, it will never be the same Dragon Age. It doesn't matter what studio would pick it up, Dragon Age without the original creators and really the foundation won't ever be what it was. I mean, realistically, maybe that's okay. Maybe after Veilguard and that kind of ending, maybe it needs a soft reboot. But regardless of like the story and the setting, I think that no matter who makes it, it's never going to feel the same. The Dragon Age that anybody, me, you, whoever's listening, whoever's watching, whatever, if you love Dragon Age, that Dragon Age that you loved Whether it's Origins or 2 or Inquisition or even Veilguard, that's gone. And that's never coming back. Maybe a reboot would be a good thing. I don't know. I could see them do another setting in Thedas, just totally detached from kind of like the Solus story and just letting that be. But again, I don't know what that looks like under another creator, just that it will be very different. I guess I've kind of settled into a peace about that. It sucks, but it is what it is. As far as Mass Effect, that is a totally different beast. I guess I could see CDPR giving it the cinematic and like character experience that it would need. But at the same time, they have The Witcher, they have Cyberpunk, and they have their new IP. They have so much on their own plate, and I think they should focus on what they want to focus on. I think they're happy doing what they're doing, and they're doing a lot. Do I see them having room for another IP, especially one that they would have to do that's like from someone else? I don't know. Personally, I think the ideal situation is that BioWare is purchased by a publisher with Dragon Age and Mass Effect, but realistically, with the state of the industry, can anyone even afford a major purchase like that? Ideally, BioWare would go independent, but realistically, I don't think they could afford that. They probably have a debt to EA or like something like that, but I think we'll find out within the next year-ish, closer to the next 6 months. What this means for Mass Effect's N7 Day, I have no idea. Either they bulk up the reveals to show what they're working on and to show that an actual game exists and that fan interest is still there, or we see the project go more silent with an incoming cancellation. I do think the show and game are kind of in limbo right now, more so the show than the game. Mass Effect 5 is finally in production, and I'd expect maybe a 2029 release date. That's still many years away, and it'll take a lot of money to finish it. As for the show, it is still in the writing phases, which seems very long, considering it was announced back in November of 2024. There have been rumors from Daniel RPK about the casting and an intended filming date of Q4 of this year, but that's right around the corner and they're still writing. No casting announcements, no teases, no nothing, no progress. I don't even think the series has been officially greenlit. So I think the show has been on a bit of a hold, where they could essentially cut their losses with it if they need to with the buyout. So I don't know how invested I feel into the show because yeah, I do think there's a big chance that the show could be canceled. As for the game, Jez Corden recently said the game is coming along well, and hopefully that means development is progressing. Hopefully they're too far into the project for anyone to can it. Not that that has really stopped anybody anymore. But I hope even if the show is canceled, the game is not. It really is BioWare's final Hail Mary. And I know that people have already given up on it. I know there's so many people that have no interest in it because of everything that has happened with BioWare. But I really do have faith in this game because of the core team of veterans that are working on it. I want to see what Mass Effect looks like in the future. I want to see the series return, desperately. And who knows, even if it doesn't leave EA, what it'll look like. There's the question if BioWare or any other EA titles or studios will change under this new ownership. So really, like these companies. First, we have the PIF, which is the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. They've already owned a partial stake in EA for a while, and their focus seems to be mostly on sports. They also have major investments in esports across many titles as well. They really seem to be focusing on these live service games that EA also loves to focus on. Battlefield, Madden, whatever. I definitely don't think they bought EA for Mass Effect. Aside from the PIF, we also have affinity partners led by Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Then Silver Lake, which there isn't a ton of information on, but they seem to also have a focus in sports like football and league-related sports. So this acquisition is clearly mostly about sports. Not surprising, as they are EA's bread and butter. And many analysts think that EA is going to focus on them moving forward while getting rid of anything else. We're about to see like 50 Battlefield and Madden titles with battle passes, microtransactions, and in-game ads up the ass. not to mention the bigger push for AI. And they don't have to worry about censorship if they don't make any games that include anything to censor anyways, right? If this really is the case for BioWare, we might see BioWare, Respawn, and these other studios that focus on single-player games really being pushed to the side. Maybe they'll get sold off. Maybe they'll just sit and die. Maybe less money will go into them. They haven't been the major breadwinners for EA ever. I will give EA credit for one thing though. BioWare should have been dead a long time ago. I thought Veilguard would be the final nail in the coffin. So if they're still willing to invest in BioWare and Mass Effect, they must still see a profit on the other end. What that actually looks like, we don't know. And how much weight that actually holds is another thing. I do kind of think that the reason that Mass Effect is still alive is because the Legendary Edition remaster was one of BioWare's most successful launches ever. It did really, really, really well. Before that, their best-selling game was Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age actually sold better than Mass Effect, but Mass Effect was the more respected title by EA. The Legendary Edition just reaffirmed that people want more Mass Effect. And again, I think that's why we're still seeing that Mass Effect 5 is in production. It's because they know that people will buy it if it is good. The Legendary Edition was an amazing remaster, but it was also a remaster of one of the most iconic trilogies to ever exist. But I'm kind of assuming that whatever Gamble and his team have shown EA tells them that they're living up to whatever they expect that can kind of sell along those lines. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what Mass Effect 5 really does look like. Because if EA thinks that it can sell, if it's still alive, I'm assuming that they really do think that there is profit somewhere in it, which means it may be good. And maybe the game that is created under EA has the potential to revitalize the franchise. But can being bought out from under EA be worse? There's always a timeline out there that's worse than the one that we're in. Even though I keep seeing people saying things like, oh, it can't get any worse. Oh, I guarantee it can. What if BioWare is bought by someone who won't do right by it? What if they ruin Mass Effect and Dragon Age worse than they already are? What if it's bought by someone who just wants the IP names to make mobile farming Sims games? What if it's bought by some major publisher who then closes BioWare? Because surely that would never happen. There are worse possibilities than EA. But hopefully maybe there's also better. I don't know. Who knows what the future of BioWare and their IPs look like? Again, I really do think that they're just in this limbo. And now that this deal has finalized, we can finally figure out what's going to happen to BioWare, Mass Effect, and maybe even Dragon Age. This year's N7 Day is going to be interesting. I really hope all the EA employees, I hope they're taken care of. And I hope BioWare doesn't close and that Mass Effect can continue. Maybe Dragon Age can live somewhere else. I would be devastated if Mass Effect died. I genuinely can't even imagine it. And there's all these articles about how Exodus or The Expanse are like this next Mass Effect killer. Nothing is going to kill Mass Effect except for EA. Like, no other game is ever going to be Mass Effect, and that's just the truth. There is no Mass Effect. There will never be another Mass Effect like the original trilogy. And unless Mass Effect 5 is good, there won't ever be another Mass Effect, period. No game is ever going to fill that void. I hope they come close. I genuinely hope those games are good, but again, yeah, no, there will never be another Mass Effect. And there will never be another Dragon Age either. Who knows if that really means that there's really never going to be another game ever again. I don't know. Anyways, we should keep an eye on all of this for about the next 6 to 12 months. I imagine we're going to start seeing stuff change pretty soon. They're going to want to make things more efficient. And I'm sure that's what they'll say in the layoff announcements that they're going to make. So, yeah, keep your eyes on EA, keep your eyes on BioWare, and keep your eyes on Mass Effect. Good luck to the employees, good luck to BioWare, I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you think. If BioWare was bought by another publisher or studio, who do you think could do right by the titles? Let me know your thoughts below, and thank you so much for watching.